All right, I think I got the camera set up good now. And hello. Welcome to a pop up show for Mythology Madness, where I'm going to continue the painting of the Egyptian god Ra. Tiny the artist, what's up? Hey, how's it going? I'm just doing a pop up show today because I finished the sketch and I had free time today and I was going to paint it. So I figured I might as well get the recording in as well. So uh, this was the final sketch that I came up with. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And what I did two color comps. So I did a high key color comp, and I kind of like this one. I think the character really stands out from the background. Um, and then I did one with a little bit more background contrast. Uh, and I think I'm going to go with a mixture of the two. Also, this one has more metallic in it than the other one. Um, but I I have not been doing my color comps before I start my painting the way I should do it. So this morning or this afternoon, I took the time. I did two color comps, and I think I'm going to go with a hybrid. I'm going to go with something more like this, but the red sand, I may not go that red. But I do want the contrast between the sun, the pyramids, and the ground. But I do like the way he pops off of the background. So these are the two color comps I did. And this one's more metallic and more contrast. This one, the character pops out more from the background. I'm going to do kind of a mixture between the two, but I do have my palette ready now. Since I did those, I've got my palette with black, white, cad red, bronze, burnt sienna, mid yellow, red orange, or orange red, more orange than red, white, or no, actually, that's a pale yellow, gold, and blue. So, since I'm going to be doing raw, I need to prep the canvas with a nice wash and some background and get the basic blocking done. And then I can start going into some more detail. So that's also, there's a sun ellipse on the top of the head. And I kind of erased that out a little bit because I don't want that to be super defined compared to the background. So on the sun, I'm probably going to do more of a wash rather than a defined line on this one. That's why I said it's going to be a combination of the two. But I did the color comps, and now at least I know what the color palette's going to look like. So good stuff there. Shouldn't be a long show. I'm just doing a wash and a block in, but we'll see how I feel and just go for it from there. And let me get a quick time hack. We are at 7:36, 7:35, which is about a good time. And this shouldn't take very long at all. Hope everybody's doing good today. Thank you for stopping by the pop in or pop up show. Thanks for popping in the pop up. Oh, thank you for the share. You are awesome. So I got one of my favorite brushes going on, my wash brush, and I'm going to be using wash, and I need to just wet down. I'm using a canvas panel 9x12. I didn't erase, which I should have done. I should have done a little bit more erasing first, but I didn't. And again, this is a raw canvas panel, so I always do a wash so the paint sits. One, the wash will lock in my pencils, and two, the paint, if I just went straight to paint, it would kind of, like, you can see the water beating up on this a little bit because it's not as tacky. So with the wash, it will get more tacky and make it easier. So I'm going to start off with the yellow to the orange to the red and go light to dark. And then I'm gonna start off with the really high yellow. Right up in there is where I want it. So I'll put that down first, and I'll blend it out a little bit because that's the sun disk. That's what I was trying to think of. The sun disk is going to be, and already down here you can see the water beading up because there's too much of it, but that's okay. It's a wash, so I don't mind. And then I want the mid yellow. And if I can get this right, I'll get some nice blends from the wash without trying too hard. But I do have to kind of work fast so that it blends nice one to another. And then before I go darker, I'm going to pull that sun disk out some more. Get some more shade, some more light going that way. And then I'm going to go to the mid orange, which I don't know where I put that color. And actually, did I use that raw? Yeah, I think I mixed it with a little bit of the yellow. Not too much though. Because on those pyramids, I want to leave room to go darker and lighter. I'm not going to worry too much about my edges right now because my main goal is just to get this block in for the wash. Kill the white of the paper or the canvas. I'm using 9x12 canvas board. Kill that white and get something underneath so that if in the full painting I miss something, it's not a stark white underneath it just glowing saying, hey, you missed the spot. For me, I've learned this is one of my most important steps is getting the block in. What first for me, I have to do a tight sketch. If I want a nice painting, I have to do a tight sketch. If I don't do a tight sketch, I really don't expect the painting to come out very well. Um, Even if I want to go loose with it, I I still need to do a pretty tight wash. That's just me. Excuse me, a tight sketch. If I even if I want to go loose with the painting, for me a tight sketch is essential. Hopefully I get to the point where I can draw with the paintbrush and go straight to painting sketch. But right now I've got to start with a tight pencil sketch. Probably because that's my bread and butter as far as the art types that I do, whether it be comics or graphic illustrations. It's just what I'm more comfortable with. It's not right or wrong one way or the other. It's just what I'm comfortable with. All right, now I'm going to jump to some of the cad red. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of the orange, or a lot of the orange, I should say, because this time I don't want it to be as dark as before. Maybe even go with a little bit of yellow. But man, this red takes over pretty strong. But that's okay. I didn't want to go that red, but that's almost what I got. All right, brighten that up a little bit. There we go. And actually, this one is a little bit more thicker than the rest, but that's okay. Where I really needed the wash to blend in was up top. And I'm not done with that yet either. I'm going to hit that again while it's still kind of juicy. And the reason I don't want to go too opaque with this one is because I still want to see my pencil lines. I can always go darker later, I can always go darker later, but I don't want to cover up all of my pencils yet. So that's why I'm trying to keep this a little wet. Again, thanks everybody for stopping by. This is just a pop-up show where I'm trying to get some color down on this white canvas and do a quick block in before I get to the full painting. And mainly for me, this is just so that as I start the painting, if I do miss a spot, it's not a big a big white canvas spot just popping up in the middle saying, hey, you forgot me. If I miss a spot, whatever's going to show is whatever the wash is underneath. So I'm okay with that. All right, now I'm going to hit that yellow again. And this time I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to start off with the sun disk here. And I'm going to let it emanate out a little bit. And I didn't get all of the red orange off of my brush, but that's okay. This actually may work out for the best in some areas. And I can pick it up pretty easy. Just get that up out of there. Get my brush a little bit cleaner. me try this again. There we go. All right. And now I'll go back to that yellow. Which I have messed up with too much mixing on the palette. This is the one part that I have to work pretty fast to try to keep that separation. While it's still wet. The gouache dries pretty quick, but it stays wet long enough for me to play with. And that's the most important thing. And I've got some nice blends there that I'm actually gonna, the way this bled into there, I'm gonna leave it because that can show the light kind of just blinging into the, over the pyramids, and I'm okay with that. Get that edge back. All right, now that has dried too much and it's not gonna give me the blend that I want. So I'm gonna have to wet it up a little bit more. So no color. I'm just coming in with straight water just to kind of, because I want those edges to stay soft. And I can do it while it's still wet. Keep those edges soft. All right, now for him, for Ra himself, I'm actually going to do a bronze wash to give it a metallic undertone. I'm going to get a different brush, mainly because I don't want to mess, I don't want any of that other color popping up under there. But I'm going to paint over this bronze. But because it's a metallic, it's going to give me a nice reflection underneath. And I think I'm going to like that a lot. I just have to make sure I do it thin enough so that I don't lose my line work. Sorry, my head's bumping the camera. I'm sorry about that. I'm just putting some water with it to keep it from drying too hard on me. Because if it dries hard and it covers up my pencil lines, it'll be bad for me. Like I was saying, I don't paint with a paintbrush. I don't draw with a paintbrush. I'm not at that level yet. So if I lose my pencils, then it's going to take me a lot longer to finish the piece. So I'm using water to keep this kind of diluted and flowing. Not super worried about the edges just yet. They'll work themselves out when I get to the finish level. But hopefully this bronze hopefully gives me a nice pop of contrast away from the rest of the painting. And I'm just letting the water flow into different areas. And in the skin tone, I'll mix the burnt sienna with the bronze, and that's going to be the skin tone. And then that's going to be the local color. And then from there, I'll use black and white and maybe a little cad red to get some of the tones for light and shadow, build some volume so it doesn't look flat. And this will dry. It'll give me a tacky layer for my paint to sit on. And that'll be cool. Got my snake head a little bit right there on his Uraeus. I've sketched raw before. I have never painted raw. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a fun painting. And it looks like it's going to dry well enough for me to see my line work. And that's the big thing, because then I'll be able to towel it. And I think that came out all right. Although I still want to attack that just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bright yellow. I'm going to water it down pretty hard. And I'm going to build that out. Keeping it soft. Trying to give it a glow. that naturally fades into the yellow. In the center, that's going to be really bright, so I'm not worried about it too much. My main concern is this. I want that glowing effect from the sun disk coming out, emanating from the head. Again, thanks everybody for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. Oh, I got some hair in there. Get that crap out of there. Hope my brushes aren't starting to fray on me. All right, and I'm just going to take a little water and make sure those edges stay soft. And hopefully that dries into a nice blended gradient. Let the water do what it does. And I think that is a good block-in start into the painting of Ra. And I need to let this dry. I've got a defect in my canvas here that's kind of ticking me off right there. Let me see if I can deal with that real quick. I don't know what that is. I do know what it is, a defect in the canvas. Just get that covered up right away. And I can still see my line work. I can see where I've got the muscles cut out. And I think I'll be good to go now. I did not use this brush at all yet. I may do, after this dries, I may do another pop-up and start the painting process. But I wanted to get the block-in wash, the wash block-in down, let this dry, and that gives me a nice tacky surface that my paint will stick to, and I don't have to worry about it beating up and rolling off on me. I can go with a lot more intention from there. But if I miss a spot, there won't be the white of the canvas just popping out at me. There's a few spaces that, maybe it will, but they're also in places where that if it happens, it'll look intentional. So, and when I go through and I do the details, I can fix that up. So thanks a lot for stopping by. This was just a real quick pop-up to show the wash and block in process that I use. There may be another pop-up for what it's only 8 o'clock. I'm going to let this dry for about an hour. Excuse me. I'm going to let this dry for about an hour, and then I'll see how I feel and if I'm ready to start tackling the full painting. I want to see how this dries and what it looks like. So thanks a lot for stopping by. Again, just wanted to get this part done because I was ready. And here's the color comps that I came up with, and I combined the two to get this. And maybe I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out.